more than Kippur about the
Oh,
Russian shop.
wow.
Promised to the older friends.
Okay.
But promised our vendors. So diapers or the items and things they're on.
Okay, fine. Just someone asked me, but okay. Simon Tofresh Yud Gimel. On this booklet, it's page Tzadik Aleph. Yeah. Yes,
Yes. I'm showing him the. It's in Iran.
wow.
This one went to Turkey.
Okay, page Tzadik Aleph. Page, it's Simon Tofresh Yud Gimel. Isser Chitza B'Yom Kippurim. Chitza Keitzad. Isser Chitza. How does it work? Any pleasure of bathing is also on Yom Kippur. We learn from the pasuk that this is one of the 5 things that are inui. This is one of the 5 things that are inui. As we saw from the Gemara, that the limud that we learned that it's also to bathe is really from no, but the story with David HaMelech that they were roev ve'oyev v'tzama, and the Gemara says that that oyev means that kemayim korim al nefesh hayefa means that a person is hot and he wants to take a cold shower.
We learned this from the Gemara.
Right, we learned from the Gemara. Yes, so we see from the Gemara. Right, that's what the Alter Rebbe emphasizes. Ben b'cham and ben b'tzoyna. That's boy b'mayim also. Even to put a finger is awesome. If he was dirty with teeth, with soya, with dam, you're allowed to wash it. He doesn't want to have pleasure. He just wants to take away the dirt. Actually, these are the words that the Rambam added that we spoke about yesterday. They should be nizir only the makam matunah, because, as we said, that the Balei HaTosfos who said that Isser Echitz is only the Rabbanon. So, okay, if it's not Tainug, they were not Geyser. So it doesn't have to be Yisor Shelo Yichitz on a makam matunah. He's not washing now for Tainug. He's washing to get over the dirt. Still. But according to the Rambam, that without Rebbe Simsenem on La Alocha, Isser Echitz is the rice. And the only time is it's mutter if it's mamash not l'shem tainug, because it's a take the lichlu. So taka has to be very nizer.
What he's trying to say, don't take advantage. You're
right
here, don't wash the whole legs.
Exactly. When he wakes up in the morning, when he wakes up in the morning, he should wash his hands 3 times. Tavkov Nundal, Vivarach al Tilsidoin. Vizor Shaloi Litel Ella Tzeit Kishri as Boiso. Here, Valechavala Noas Rechitza. Rak Lahavir Ruach Rom Al Hayadain, just to get rid of the Ruach Ra. Lach shouldn't give it a mappa, Mavera Mappa al Gabieno, Lahavim Cheblesheno. So he washes the hands till here, and then he wipes his hands on a towel. The towel now has a little bit of moisture in it. So the towel he could put over his eyes to take away the chevle shena. You know, when you wake up in the morning, before you wash your face, you look like you just got out of bed. So the frat, right. Then he's going to say even more. If there is a little bit of dirt, if there's a little dirt on his eyes, a person that's very bothersome and he's not comfortable until he washes his face with water, because it's not for pleasure. להחמש, אפילו משהו איסטנס, אין מקנח פונם, אבל אין במים, אלא כן יש ליפלו ועל פונם, ועל אין שעוז, מותר לחודם לרחץ כדאית בכל השונה. The minig is not to. That's the minig.
Even if you're instant.
Yes, even a istanis. But if there's lifluf in his eyes, there's something in his eyes, then he's taka, he washes it. There's no questions. So two things a person could do. One is when he washes kishrei voice of it's siman top reju. When he washes kishrei, he wipes his hand with a towel, and the towel he puts over his face, basically his eyes, and
That was what that means that it's not just tumor.
Right.
What's different if you watch finger the whole hand?
Okay. Good question.
Pleasure. So it's a tumor, it's something.
Okay. So it's a good question. So there is a letter here. They made a copy of this. A letter from the Rebbe to someone who wrote to the Rebbe asking this exact question. Since Alter Rebbe says in Shulchan Aruch in the Siddur that the tumah goes till here. So what happens on Yom Kippur that you wash till here? Api nigla taka, there's a suffix until where you have to wash. So
What's it called? Yak.
yeah, okay. So Lamanda Omer that you wash till here, the tumah goes till here. Lamanda Omer that you wash till here, the tumah goes till here. Verstanden. But Alpin is the Alter Rebbe says in the Siddur that the tumah is nispasha till here. So the tumah is nispasha till here. So what are you telling me that on Yom Kippur and on Tisha B'Av we wash at kishrei ba'osav if the tumah goes till here? It's a good question. The Rebbe answers that there's a Sefer Mikdash Melech. I took out the Sefer Mikdash Melech, so there's someone in our shul who's an Einikel, I mean, 10 generations from the Mikdash Melech. That's the Buskila. And
The one point of Shalom Muzal.
yeah, how do you pronounce the last name? Muzaglo, yeah. Right. He needed to. He ran away from Morocco because the king wanted to arrest him. He was a right. He was over in London, and he was very big in Kabbalah. And I see in the Akdom of the Sefer they write that he got haskama from the Yavitz, and then the Yavitz got upset. He wanted to retract his haskama because he saw that he quotes from the Sefer Chemdas Hayama. And he was all upset.
What's the one with
It was unbelievable because they were choshen that he had something with Shapsai Tzvi.
Yeah.
And the
Same reason found in
Chaim Palagi, others, big Chacham Svarat said it's not true. Baba Mises and the Yavitz was a little extreme in their mind. But the thing is that I have to find that I put away an article someone wrote recently. That you see the Alter Rebbe was very machshav the Mikdash Melech. Again, how do you pronounce his last name? Buzaglo. Yeah.
That's not even the original book that he wrote. His original book is called Mikdash Hashem. And later on, they made a kisur of it. To give you a whole kisur. I mean, the kisur is pretty big, but they made a kisur of it called Mikdash Melech.
Right, and the later they made it like on the parashas, right?
Yeah.
And the original sefer was just on the Zohar, not on the parashas.
It was on the Zohar, yeah. And the book included the field also within the Zohar.
Right.
The Zohar itself is on the
Right, on the parashas.
It's a kind of name by the Moroccan Buzag. A lot of families.
What was his first name?
Long.
Yeah. So we see in Tanya several places the Alter Rebbe brings him. So obviously the Alter Rebbe did not think that Rahman al-Islam there was anything wrong with it. It seems that in Morocco, by the Chacham Svarat, he was very, very choshev. When did he live? No? Right. I mean, he met, like 2 generations before. I mean, he met the Chacham Tzvi son, the Yavitz, and he asked him for Askom. And the Yavitz gave him Askom. He was in Amsterdam. And he printed a sefer there, and the Yavitz gave him Askoma. And then the Yavitz retracted his Askoma. And all had to do with the Chemdas Hayom. This is like an unbelievable controversy about this Chemdas Hayom. And the one of the latest Gedolei Yisrael from in Turkey was Reb Chaim Palaji. So he writes about this controversy, and he says that the Baal Chem Nesiyom was an unbelievable tzaddik, and there was once from the Chachmei Ashkenaz someone that came around to collect money, and they brought him to the cave of the Chem Nesiyom, and he said, we know from the Yavitz that this guy is not good. And as soon as he got on to donkey, and Rahman al-Islam, his hand filled up with ababuis, and he jumped off. His hand filled up with the pus, with ababuis, and he jumped off his donkey, and he went back and he asked Mechila, and his hand cleared up. So anyway, this is all to do with. So there was a controversy about Chametz Yom. It was also about the Mikdash Melech. Shalom Buzgalo. Buzaglo. So, but as I said, the Alter Rebbe quotes him several times. So obviously, the Alter Rebbe never, ever quotes someone that he didn't think was Toiche Kebare. Impossible. The Alter Rebbe only quotes people that he thought were there's no sfeikus about them. So obviously, the Alter Rebbe didn't think there was any sfeikus and it's tzitkus. Anyway, I'm going to find this article I put away once about him and about what the Alter Rebbe's yachas was. Obviously, the Alter Rebbe thought that he was a tzaddik. He brings him in Tanya a few times. Not in Tanya. Tanya in the Geras HaKodesh twice or three times. So obviously, the Alter Rebbe thought of him as a tzaddik, and by Sfardim, he's mekupel as a ish eloki. B'chal in Morocco, there was a lot of Chachmei Kabbalah. Because what happened was when the Jews were expelled from Spain, there were a lot of the Chachmei Yisrael that went to different places. One of the places was to Morocco, and it seems that in Morocco they were blessed with a lot of the so they came. A lot of them are from the last Mekubolim that were in Sfarad, like Hey Tavis when they brought back the boxes of Sfarad to the Rebbe picked up 3 books. And one of the first one was from the Meir Ibn Gavai. The Rebbe said that they should print whatever 10,000 copies of Sefer, and the Rebbe right away, the Rebbe didn't look at the Sefer. He picked up the Sefer and we went down to 70, and he right away said a Sicha on the first 2 oasis something about Hashem.
Alaji is very known.
So I'm saying in Morocco there was a lot of. So the Meir Ibn Gavai moved from Spain to. There's another few Mamish Gedolei Torah that moved from Spain to Morocco, and Morocco was a lot. You see from even today. Look at the Baba Sali. I'm just giving an example. That you see that in Morocco they were very influenced, very very strong.
Family.
They were very influenced. The Pinto family. I'm saying these Gedolei Yisrael, the last generation of Mekubalim that came from Spain.
Right.
And settled in Morocco, taught their Talmidim,
The gravitation of the Kabbalah.
Yeah, there seemed to have been a lot of Kabbalah.
Wednesday, I have a meeting with Rabbi Pinkin. The one for French. It's another one of the problems.
Right. They're all from Morocco. They're all connected. They're all one family. So he has in a Sefer a beautiful word for this kasha. That ever brings it in his name. That what happens on Yom Kippur is that the Kedusha of the Yid is very intense. So because the Kedusha and the Guf of the Yid is very intense, so the Tumah can't spread more than the fingers.
I thought it was when I was sleeping, so only the finger.
No, but so why is it that the Alter Rebbe says that Shipso Bas Melech, that the Tumah goes till here? And why is it Yom Kippur that only to here? So the Mikdash Melech says because the intensity of the Kiddush and Yom Kippur is so unbelievable that so a little clipper can but nothing more can go. So, but the problem is, and then the Rebbe says that you could say that Tisha B'Av is the opposite because Rahman al-Islam, that you have the opposite of Kedusha, and this goes to what we were talking about yesterday. That Tumah only wants to come in a place where there's a Ribu Kedusha. So that's why Bechal doesn't bother with a God. But even with a Yid and Tisha B'Av, when Rahman al-Islam, there's a Ribu Klippe in the Welt. It's a Yom Shel Chayiv and not Yom Shel Zakai. So they don't bother so much. So they only sit al Kishri Etzba'is. So I was discussing it now. I was for 11 hours I went to visit the Einiklach I was there last week for a day. I was pushing there for 11 hours in Houston. So I was discussing, So I was discussing it with my son-in-law. So my son-in-law said, doesn't make sense. The minig is that Motzei Yom Kippur, we wash the hands. Why? Akash. So,
What do you mean, first thing?
what if the tumor doesn't spread beyond this point? So why is it that Motzei Yom Kippur? Right. Why are we washing? The Pashup Shat, why we're washing is because it was a chasafik. In the morning we did the minimum, but now we're doing the full thing. But aloyd the mikdash melach. So what's the pshat? So I found the answer. So there's a letter that the Rebbe writes to a kohen. The kohen is asking him, "What's the minhag Chabad on Yom Kippur do they wash the full hand or not?" The Rebbe says that to wash the full hand, and then the Rebbe says, however, you should know. He says, right, so it's avoid, and you have to wash the full hand. Okay, we'll see it later. Sure, the fact it's a double portion. Right, that's why. That's for sure. Right, okay, because it's it's a mitzvah. Right, it wasn't Latin, it's a mitzvah. But the shaila, this guy asked, right, it's a mitzvah, so it's not tainum. Well, fine. Now this guy asked the shailas. So maybe Motzei Yom Kippur, if he's a kohen, why does he have to wash Motzei Yom Kippur? He already washed. So the Rebbe says, let me read the words. It's a little pelodik, but I don't even understand what the answer is. He says because he says the nirali tam netilazu Motzei Yom Kippur Ishlilas Hispashtus Atuma La'achar Sur Kedushas Yom Kippurim Ayin Mikdash Melech Zoya Chelik Beis Daf Kufayin Gimel Amad Aleph, which is probably this Mikdash Melech. Vimkein Ein Moel on Atilas Yadayim Ezes Ratia B'Yom Kippurim. So he told the kohen again. The kohen is asking, I already washed my full hand. The Israelim they washed only till here, but the kohenim who wash their whole hand because they're going up to the duchan, so why should they have to wash Motzei Yom Kippur? So the Rebbe says, no, it's a different thing. That kilu, the
kedusha went away.
The kedusha went away, so the klipa has a koyach to come back. So therefore, we have to take care of that. But I don't know. But anyway, I'm just reading the words. That's bottom line. This is the answer. This is what the Rebbe says. That's the pshat. That on Yom Kippur, the kedusha is so strong. So the achiza of the klipa can only be here. Shenkin, when the Memshecha Yovel Hemo Yala Bahor, when after Niila, that the kedusha is Nisala, and in this world there's not any more a gila of that kedusha. So there could be a little bit of achiza and klipa in the hand of a Yid, Rachman al-Islam. Yid right away wants to get rid of it. Okay, it's Hashem, it's a very holy day. Before it's not Yom Kippur. So therefore we wash our hands. So therefore it doesn't help for the kohenim that they wash their hands. It's a different engine. Yeah, and
I see them go to the mikveh, they go to
no. I've never seen such a
mikveh.
I've never seen such a minhag.
No matter what.
No, I've never seen such a minhag. Never seen such. It's a good question. Lloyd this hesber. I know. Especially that Shulchan says that you have to go from mitzvah to mitzvah, start building your sukkah. So how could you build your sukkah without jumping into the mikveh first?
You became a malach when you give it. So.
No, but he's asking. Now we see that we wash. We're the fourth. I don't know.
Like why we saying like that?
Now I'll tell you what. The emes answer is something else. The emes answer is like this. It goes back to the Rabbeinu Yoin at the beginning of Berachos. Really, the Chazal were Mavatal Tfilas Ezra. But Rishonim said that in order to misfollow, even though Mavatal, machuyev to do it, Lagabe when I told you it's any mile any motive. Lagabe Tfila, it's mile. It's not motive. If you didn't do it, you're allowed to daven. But it's mile and the Tfila. That's what Rabbeinu Yoin says. A few more Rishonim say it befedish. that even they were mevatel only legabi Torah. Legabi tefillah, we're not mevatel it. So Motzi Yom Kippur, we're not doing any tefillah anymore. Hein emes, if Ilu Yitzuyer, there would be a tefillah. There is no tefillah. Ilu Yitzuyer, there would be a tefillah, so that maybe taka would be such a machshava that should be toivel. That's probably the real answer.
Because we are malach, so
No, but this question is, you see, that the Rebbe is saying that the reason why we're not Yadayim Matzim Kippur is that the Stalkus HaKedusha, and therefore we're scared that the Klippa could get a hold of our hands, therefore we're washing it off.
So maybe
So,
the hand, yeah, but not the body.
I think that this had, you could say that too. I think Pasha, because the whole idea of tefillah is, even though it's been chassidus and it's not machuyah, but we're going back to the Gemara, and the Gemara said to do it, and the Rishonim said it's moil and you're not tefillah. You're not machuyah to it, it's moil. So we're doing it because the Rishonim said to do it, but after tefillah's arvis, hatach nishken klep.
But it should go, once it should, you're not allowed to do the shell. People, you're allowed to.
Right. Okay. Okay. It's a different thing. Okay. Adkan the Hezber. I think it's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful Hezber. But the Tesefes that the Rebbe adds Lagabe Tisha B'Av. It's beautiful because it makes it. It's not just a suffix. So we're doing a din lakana lakana kumra. It's just in Pnimis HaTorah everything always stimmt. Okay, let's continue. Siv Dalet. Now I been a balchoy for two things. I said I'm going to bring the signature from the Pshaltil Ninyu about the fooling the Sultan, and Blitz Hashem, I'll bring the article about Makubal, the Baal Mikdash Melech. If a person cleaned with his hands, then it suits him from his body. I mean, nebach, in those days, people didn't have tissues, so they were mekanech with their hands, and they used to wash later their hands. So if a person by night after the Mazak if he didn't touch any so why do you have to wash your hands? But the MS some nochen lasses that he eats hand should be like for the Eibishter, cover the Eibishter, you're going to say the Eibishter's name, the Kedusha. But for it, Chazal said that if the going into the bathroom is not enough, it doesn't feel right to walk out of the bathroom and not wash your hands. But for it, but Chazal only said that it's an issue if you touch tinuf or something. If you didn't touch, it's not a problem. So touch the makom hamachusa drop, and then you're mechuyev to wash. So that's fine.
It's not Yom Kippur and the role of something that feels about how much to go back to for water.
No, that's for davening. For Asher Yotza, not mechuyev. If he knows his hand didn't touch, gornish, he didn't touch. It's nothing, but not mechuyev. Again, there's Hochem Lekrasa Lekach Yisrael. When we did the sugya 2-3 years ago, so I remember that at the time I asked the Shaila, if you go to the bathroom, do you need a Negelvasa Shisa? The board is your hands are clean, whatever. So Hashgoch Elyoina, that week I met someone, I don't remember now who.
Let's say went to the bathroom with the gloves. You got the gloves.
Yeah, Kol Shekain. And that was all part of the Shaila. I don't remember who it was. And he told me that the Baba Sali had the Adam, the name. And he saw him going out. Yeah, he saw him going out of the bathroom, and he just washed his hands in the sink without a natla, without a cloth. He gave him musa for that. He said that this is the wrong thing. You have to wash with a cloth.
There's also an India that our bathrooms are that they say concealing.
Right. So it makes it even more cool, right?
Yeah.
Still, this is a story that I heard. He told me that he heard it from the younger man. Yeah.
Rabbi, I have a Chiel Abuchatzera. I have a family from the descendant of Abuchatzera. When, I work with the organization, Yad La'achim. So when he came about 5, 6 months ago, so I was reading the whole time. The whole time. It's transferred to people in the Shiva work 1 o'clock. He's running. When he wanted to go to the bathroom, he would come with me and stay by the door. It's the old. When nobody go to the bathroom, we go to the bathroom. So stay outside, someone else has to wait. Remember that, I guess.
באמת, דברים אמורים, בליל יום כיפורים. אחר התפילה. על קודם התפילה ביום שמספללים, כל מים בשלוש שם יודו שוס, הצרוך בשלום, כן יודו מותר ליטל לצוף כשצריך, שמצווה לספל בידיים, תהורס ברחיצה, שנאמר, he coined the class of the Israel, because tefillah has a higher level, because the pasuk says he coined the class of the Israel. So it's more than just saying Shem Hashem, which would be through Torah or through a bracha. Tefillah, Chazal were more makpid, that you should wash your hands before tefillah. So therefore, b'yom kippurim, there's no question. This is all b'leil kippurim.
One of the reasons a lot of shul are the same, right?
Right?
Outside.
Am I right?
You walk into shul, wash your hands.
Sure, right?
Right.
So because Chazal will makpid, so taka ladina, we don't make a bracha when we wash our hands in tefillah, because the whole shak if you should make a bracha or not. So we don't make a bracha. It's a mitzvah. So again, this is not what tainu. The Chazal noch geheißen. There's those that hold you to make a bracha for it. So fine. So that's not tainu. I have to do it. So the only problem is B'leil Yom Kippur. So technically, I don't have to wash my hands. So if I touch a little of my goof, over there, so then I'll be mechuyev to wash. Okay, so then that's a trick. So because it's not for pleasure. There is some people that have that minhag. I don't know if that's.
So if you're going to put the lady allowed to wash the whole hand.
Yeah.
Before we wash the plate.
Yeah. You're not doing what time? Also, Lirichas Piv Bima Gippurim. That's already we explained Hilchos Tainas. Hoylach the base of Medrash. Hoylach Hagel Pnei Avi Pnei Rabbe. When we should go to the Bechachal, let's talk. Shar Mitzvah Yochel Avi B'Mayim Atzam V'Ori Bima Chosel Bima Chazore. That he could walk in the water and he could even go back. Well, he said in the Gemara why? Because he said Shalolach Shilon Le'Osei Lovi. Because we want that they should feel comfortable going and coming back home.
What do you mean, Hatzavar? We put all his body like in a mikveh?
Yeah, I mean, those days, people were not so finicky like us. If they needed to walk through a thing of water, they walked through the water, shine. Funny, like, the way the Alter learns it.
We learn only to,
Oh, so this is the next sip. No, the Alter was going to say that. בלבד שיעשה שינה בכל אוהב ובמים, בכל לילה שביועץ ליודם מתחת ספץ, חלוק כדי להגביס וחלוק כמעט כמו שיועץ בכל אוהב ובמים בכל, כדי שעל ידי שינה יזכר, שהיום אינו חול ולא יובל לסחית את בגודל, he should make a shina in order to remind himself not to do schita, not to wring his clothing. ואהב בישבגת שיעשה במים זהו כבוס אף בשינה סך כמשין הסבור, בסימן שבאלת בכן תירה לה במים ימים כפורים משום דלם, ונשאר זה כבוס אלם כן המלך כל שקורת המשריע. Over here, his begodim are clean. It's not like he's putting them in the washing machine because he wants to wash them. If the begodim are dirty, so but your begodim are clean. So Elamai, the problem is the rechitz. So because it's from mitzvah and it's not tainu, so no problem. A river that the water is going with force. If the water goes even a little more than your masnayim, you're not allowed to walk in that river. Because it's dangerous. It's funny that the Gemara learns it from Psukim. Even though, things are common sense. Chazal very makbid that a person should be healthy. But this is Dafka from Psukim, that the Eibishter showed Yecheskel a Nevuah that he's walking in the water that's coming out of the base of Mikdash. And at some point, he told him, here you can't walk.
Like we said, in the beginning it was small water.
And then more and more, because it's on the... And at the end, it lands up in some place that's a pool, and over there, Megate in the mikveh. That's fine. But when the water is rushing, if it goes more than your masnayim, you're not allowed to go in because it's a sakona.
Why is it not carrying on the clothing?
He's carrying the water.
We had a travel by the mikvah going into the ocean on Shabbos.
Right. We had that submission base, that he's carrying water.
With the clothes,
The Choyde, right, it's submission base. We spoke about it. Yes, I don't know. In mind on this. To look later, it's Shimon base.
What's his necessity or something?
There was a big sugi about attacking Shimon base. I don't remember. But it'll be mine. There. Yeah, it doesn't talk about it here. Ain't it a lava b'mayim b'dvar mitzvah l'kshoiver b'mayim atzma. Have a lava b'sfinik tan also feel bar mitzvah. This if you're walking in the water. If you want to go with a boat, forget about the boat. Visually, you hear with bar mitzvah. At least the rechitza can shine him zan the isur rechitza. So the main thing is minatoyre is if you want to time it. If you don't want to time it, Chazal said still don't do it. But if it's bar mitzvah, will let you do it. Have a lava b'sfina. Sheish b'zeh shvuz goma v'dibri sefer. Chazal made a iser to go on a boat. For Gzedis, or whatever. It's Gzedis Chazal. I don't know if it's from Makal Hakadosh. Maybe there were a few reasons for the Gzedis. So, they said, okay, it's talking mitzvah l'kahaba hakol pnei rabbi, but no, you can't be over a mitzvah the rabbanon to do it. Also,
go over a bridge.
No, bridge is different. They never asked at a bridge. They asked only a boat. A boat. Harav also laver b'mayim kedei l'kabel pnei talmidim. But the Rav can't go to him Kabbal's Talmud. The fil hakol pnei chaveri also main chaveri gadol men mechachma. It's only the mitzvah of Makabel your Rebbe. If he's bigger than you, b'chachma. Avalim roitz lishul bar alocha b'chaveri b'tamid shalom degam eitzel kachom b'chenim v'entzar aplam v'mayel v'tolma dim talmidim v'goyin shana talmud yachal v'yetzloi. What do we laver b'mayim alecha b'chazara? This is only mitzvah the mitzvah of lahakol b'nei rabbi. But if you have a question and you want to ask your Talmud knows the information. How does he know you don't know? Because he learned it somewhere else. You're allowed to go. That's again called the bar mitzvah. Now his next halacha is a very funny halacha. He's going to look at his field. He has the apples. And now is the harvest season. He wants to make sure no one's stealing apples from his orchard. He's allowed to go through the water. It's a mitzvah.
So we're saying in Shabbos now for next year.
Right.
You're going to look what they need to be done. And then the machshavas in Shabbos it should be like Yom. But here to watch it, you're allowed.
It's not like by the drasha, they said if we're not going to tell people that they could
come back.
Say there was the derech was that in the big Beis Knesses and whatever in the cities in Babel, that on Yom Kippur they gave a drasha. So if the people can't go back, they're not going to want to come. Say go and come and go. If you want to watch your paid it's okay, go, but don't come back. And where did they have in Babel time? Could you imagine they had time to give a drasha? And my sense on Yom Kippur, my sense is that there wasn't a sermon, a modern day sermon. It's not one. That's
They didn't have all the Piyutim of those days.
Oh, that's true. They probably had less.
I'd like to see also not only forget about the sermon, they used to go out to Piyutim and the dancing and stuff like that. But they didn't have all these Piyutim and
That's true. And there could be both are true. They started very early, and they didn't have piyutim, so they had time. Because those drashas were probably not the sermon, touching on current events and about what's going on in the UN or what's going on there.
And like I said, they had a thing with the girls going out to the dances.
Right. You see that they had time.
Yeah.
On Yom Kippur?
On Yom Kippur, they had this time.
If they didn't have food,
In some shuls, they don't even. In Chabad, there's for some reason not called that there should be a break. But there's some places the davening all day.
It looks like this stuff all day.
All day. But I think both shots are true. They started very early and they didn't have yutim like us. Okay, Ava Mokim Shetiro Lava Bamaim, Lo Yaver Elim Kain, Ein Lo Derech Acheres Yochel Hakef Lamachoyz Chefze, Im Lo Yaver Bamaim, Avlim Yesh Lo Derech Acheres Lahakef Vesamayim, So Yarukim is a Mutav Shiar that Hilach Lahakef Vesamayim, Lo Yaver Bamaim. You have a road that you can go around the Maim, Shesh Pan Shash Rechitza. Number one, there is the issue of Rechitza, even though we pushed it away. It's very easy that it'll come to the problem of Schita. If he has sand, he's allowed to put his hand or his feet on the sand and to cool down. It's these halachas sound like a funny halacha, but you have to think they didn't have air conditioning.
No.
You don't have air conditioning. It's chalish in the Habay. Talking in Bubble, right? It gets hot in Bubble. It's not New York.
Under the green and dry like a desert.
Yeah. So the person wants
It's
to go.
funny you call it stanen. It's stanen. It's really get cool. Just to put your hand in the teeth.
What else?
When you have no choice.
Go to the beach. You put in the ground. You cooling yourself.
But his whole body.
Hmm?
With you lying on the
You can lie down, exactly. Not only exactly. עד שאם יניח עליו יודי, תר עליו בלחץ כל כך עד שאם ידבקן על ידי אחרת תדבק בלחץ שקיב לה מן עתיד, וזהו, נקרא תפח כוונס להטביע, also לצטן הבוי, מפני שזהו כרכת במים. The water is תפח כוונס להטביע, that's called bathing. מותר לצטן בכל מיני פרס שבתינק, בכל מיני כלים הריקים, בין שכתס וזו, בין שחרס, we just ran through the Gemara quickly yesterday, but that's the bottom line. Again, that was all clear in the Gemara that we learned yesterday. That if if the kois has water in it, he's not allowed to. Chash, that the water is gonna pour onto him. ומשנה גבס וילך, עד שלא יהיה בתפך מנס להטביע, ועוד מכוונך בו, פונו יד ברגלו כדי לצטנן. Technically, you should be able to take a towel, put it in the water before Yom Kippur, and leave it outside, and it shouldn't be too much water. There shouldn't be tefech mnas lapia. And then, vaz mekanech bo ponu yad veraglo k'dei litztanen, af b'she'nei oisel haver alich l'chel k'dei litzanek. Even though it's not, I mean, if you're taking away lichluch, no problem. You always allow it.
It's only moisture.
But here he's doing it for tainuk. It's only moisture, and it's not tefech manas lakpiach. It should be mutter. So Nemesis, we ran through the Gemara quickly, but there's one gears and another gears of the story, and then there's a whole in the Rishonim, like what would, because there's a story about the Chachamim that came to the house of one of the Moira in Caesarea. And he said to the son, I'll tell you what your father used to do. He used to take a towel for Yom Kippur. So Shaila is what he did and what he didn't do. Ava became muter min adin, commission of Guva Menamam, commission is born, Bismet Dovkat Mendal, Mishtish about. Komokum, Biyom Kippur, Yesh Lahachman, Fish Imoyam Mekanek, Mamapash and Guva Menamam Yishkan, is a Minatoir Mishum Schit. If there is enough water in this mappa, you have a schita issue. לפיכך יש לאחר אב מן הגובים מים שלום בדיום זר שלא יתסנגב יופי ויקנך בביוב לידי סחיטה. One of the girses in the Gemara is that's what he said at the end. He said, no, you're wrong. That Yom Kippur, that you can't do it on Yom Kippur. Why? What's the problem with Yom Kippur? Not because the Isser Rechitza, because if there's no water that's enough to fech amanas latbiach, that's not called a Rechitza. It's just because we're choishish of schita. How do you know that the towel has enough water or not enough water? Easily, he's going to go like squeeze it on himself, and then they'll be over the issur of schita. Probably whatever is needed. Hakala achnesem mutes lerichet panabem kapurim. Lafi shitzrich l'sas shchava abala. It's funny because the Gemara brings kala and melech. So how come the Shulchan Aruch only brings kala and not melech? Because probably that's the difference of the Rambam and Shulchan Aruch. The Rambam brings kol Torah kula. The Shulchan Aruch, Rabbi Yosef Cairo, didn't. His point was not to bring kol tzikum, kol Torah kula. He built what shaykh to everybody every day. First he went through Erechaim, the other day, Even Ezer, Mishput. He wasn't trying to write kol Torah kula. So let's negate Hamelach. I'm not a melech, you're not a melech. So because the Rambam, that's why in some of these halachas you have to go to the Rambam. Right, the Rambam says Mishnah Torah, Odem Koyre Torah Shuvik and Torah, and he learns the whole Torah. But Shulchan Aruch, that wasn't the idea. So therefore he just brings the halacha, the kala, not the melech.
The Chatan is not the same thing as the Kala. Doesn't have to be litnaot for the Kala. It also has to look nice.
No, it's a good question. I mean, that's Taki the Gemara.
Yeah, it's only the Kala.
Right, it's only the Kala. Was it
so shallow.
Anyway,
She's not that shallow.
She's not that shallow. Yeah. The women are not so shallow. The men. I was a chassan here at Kirchenberg at the chasna. So that week, the week after the chasna, chassan was here. So it says Noki lebase of a simach esishta. So the Rashi says that there's two ways of learning. Simach esishta either means that him and his wife will be besimcha, or it means that he will be mesameach his wife. And the Rashi says the second pshat is the right pshat, that he will be mesameach his wife, not that they will both be besimcha. Anyway, back to this.
That's a harder job.
Yeah. Mishiro Kerabim Kippurim is Manas Shabbat with the concept of Shatik and Tfilas. Tfil the Balikari, also the Lut, but this Kochlop Tishakab, not the Mission Back, the kind of Cholabas Shona. Well, Unikim Yom Kippurim, Shem in a lot, it's also a lesser as a mutin. Can have a minute to undo an issue. It's also Ella Imakeri Adain Ulach. Oh, now is a problem. Can't have a mapoy. The dire, Bimnisiavish Kvar, Shnislach, like a bit of Saloy. And he has to wash it with water. But not tefillah. Can't do tefillah. Also, he should tell Balayla Mekapur Mafili is man so that's Balalazo, Kibisha Sort of Shamish Balalazo, and Mitvilos Mitzvah Cloud, is born the year the day of something Zion, the Tefillah Mitzvah, love Mitzvah, he Elim came by Imam Mishum Bitul Piri Biriba. This is like a big sugya. Tefillah Bizman Mitzvah, Tefillah Bizman love Mitzvah. Bizman Hashaz, Bizmanenu, because they kept Tumas Vataris. So you can if it's Bizman, it's nothing to do with Labaila. There's two issues in Nidus Vizivus. There's the Tumah Vatari issue and there's the Isur. It's two different it's two different sugyas. But Bizman is that we're not keeping Tumah Vatara, so Nishnageya. So what's the only thing that's Nageya? Lahatira Labaila. And it's a mitzvah take to go in the right night, to be with Bailo.
But not Yom Kippur.
Not Yom Kippur, not Shaykh anyway. There's a beautiful story with the Maggid of Mezrich. The story was that he was Kol Chayav, he was very Nebuch sick. So, according to this story, I forget where it's brought, that there was 20 years he wasn't with his wife. He was Nebuch very, very sick, and he couldn't be misdaking to his wife. But she was very makpid to go to the mikveh every month, even though she knew Nebuch is sick and he can't. She went to the mikveh, and they didn't have a fancy mikveh. Doesn't matter. It was once in the winter, and the mikveh was ice cold, ice cold. She came back home and she fainted. So the Maggid came running to his wife. So he asked her what happened. So she told him what happened. I went to the mikveh, and I've been going for the past 20 years, by the way, once a month. And he heard that, he couldn't believe it. So that night, it was Mesiach with her. After that came out his son, Rabbi Avram the Malach. That the Maggid said on him that such a neshama, hundreds of years, didn't come down to this world, such a special neshama. That was the Mesiris Nefesh of his wife. That was such a Mesiris Nefesh. So that's chus. There was Oiche. Sitaka says in Tanya that though in Tanya he says that it's only the levush the neshama that's affected by the parents of the neshama. I guess in Ayotzim and Aklal that she had such an unbelievable schus. 20 years that she went to the mikveh and she didn't say anything. And she did so mitzvah this mitzvah that she did. That's
Well, they didn't know that she's going to the mikveh.
They're not the shalom bias like the Talmud.
I don't know what the Maggid knew, what the Maggid didn't know. The Maggid's head was somewhere else. But he was sick. That was for sure. The problem was he was sick. He was very sick.
Not to have relation, but they know his wife part.
Yeah. There's knowing and knowing. And when he saw that she fainted, he realized he kept it probably. Kept the house. He might have slept in another bedroom probably. It's hard to. Nice the Maggid is left. You know, did he ever sleep in a bed b'chlal, or he slept like maybe like yeah. Anyway, but that's the story. It's an unbelievable story. So big. So there is a mitzvah. But what's the mitzvah of Zamazah? Not Tumah V'Tar. The mitzvah of Zamazah is in order to be mizdakek l'bayla for the mitzvah period v'riba. And it's not shayach in the night of Yom Kippur. So Amela does not shayach to say for the Bizman mitzvah. Avalisha Lavenis Labonim Bim Kippurim, Teres Lichas Ksad Ben Yakiseb, and Mechamel and Son Kimmel Shadei Menes, Luchvol Shamash Mkane Chitz Shal Mitzvah. If Lamazog, it's the last few minutes of Yom Kippur, and she is to go to the mikveh. By night, that night. No, the mikveh ladies are not sitting there until 1 o'clock in the morning. They close the doors. They lock the gates after Yom Kippur. So she wants to start a little bit cleaning up before yeah. So that's mutter.
Then again, it's not a time.
It's not a tainum. And over here, there's no tainum. She's only to clean up in order to make her achonis, in order to be toivel. So that's not a problem. Huh? It's interesting. It's a capella here. There's a lot of shaklavatayi about this halacha.
We also for first.
Huh?
We for first also.
Right. Whatever she's doing. He's saying he didn't go into whatever she has to do in order to achonis.
They usually do the achonis before. People do the achonis.
Right. Right. So maybe she wants to do whatever it is. If she needs it, it didn't go into the process. Yeah. So that's the bottom line. So the Bemis is the bottom line of the whole simon is the Alter Rebbe, it seems to say that Rechitza is a serious thing. Not that I wanted it, I said. Elamai, the golden rule is it the Rechitza shall tainug, or is it Rechitza she'ena shall tainug? Elamai, that we have this interesting thing from the Mikdash Melech that the Rebbe brings, that about the Kedusha and what happens on Yom Kippur and once Yom Kippur.
Well, even somebody who's off the whole night and you keep up, you'll say to him, let's say, alone, in the morning, he still has to wash his fingers.
Yeah, there's a big shaklavataye for a person that didn't sleep if he who has to make the bracha to the dying. Agam, the Friedrich Rebbe says, Hiro b'chashoi, that Chabad does do the bracha. Bemis is a serious shayla. He didn't sleep, so was our ruach hatumah, was not ruach hatumah. Okay, they shall help on that we should all that we should have a ruach tahara and mitzvah shem take in Yom Kippur, that we should be masala and we should feel that evil mitzvah shem for the entire year. And ksivach samatov v'shana tov mzukah b'gashmis u'beruchnis.
Amen.
Oh, it's Shkar Yerchanim for joining us.
Star.